Hi, this is James with Fatbox Software, and I'm doing a series of videos documenting the development process on a new iPhone game project that I'm working on. And it's basically going to be like a series of tutorials that the development community or fans or whatever can follow along and learn some methods development using Maya, Unity, and Photoshop. So in this first one of my first needs on this project was to basically create like a prototype of a drivable track. And so this is one of my tried and true methods for creating a basic prototype track inside of Maya and be ready for import into Unity. So basically one of the first things I start with is I'm going to go up into Window, Settings and Preferences, and go over to the Settings tab here and just make sure that I'm working in meters as the unit. And I'm going to hit Save and make sure that. The other one I'm going to go into is Display Grid and look at the options. And basically, because I knew my track probably would be about 140 meters, long or wide or whatever, I put 140 in here for the entire length and width, so that's 140 meters. And could set this to 1 and hit apply, and you'll see that basically there's a grid line every single meter, but it gets a little dense, when you're far out, so I usually set it to like 4. And then basically every grid line here, every box is 4 meters. So with that set, and subdivision's 1, so with that set to 4 units, basically 4 meters for every grid line, I can close that out and look at it. And by looking at that here, you can know that my little strip of road stand-in here is about 16 meters long. Each one of these blocks is 4 meters, and this covers 4 blocks, so 16 meter wide. The actual length of it was really kind of arbitrary. Just left it kind of maybe a little over 1 meter in length, and then 16 meters wide. Was a little wide for a series of 2-lane roads, but this is like a dirt road track. So, and I want to accommodate like 3 or 4 AI vehicles with it, so we want to make sure the track's wide enough for that. So I have a 16-meter strip of road here to start with, and that's pretty good, and my grid and everything laid out. So one of the first things we want to do is go Panels, Orthographic, Top, and this is where we'll basically go into Create and CV Curve Tool, look in the options, and just hit Reset, and it should be on 3 cubic, close it out, and this is where we'll start drawing our basic track. So basically I'll hold down the X key and just kind of grid snap to design this rough layout of a track. And I always want to kind of come back and end it where I began. Once you click your last one to end it, hit enter, and that'll close your curve here. That's a rough little, I'll just hold down right mouse button, select vertices, just kind of smooth this out. That was a rough kind of junction there. And so there's our track. And basically this is the road that's going to go around the track. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. And I'm losing my scale manipulator, so I'm going to view, camera attribute editor, and just make sure the far clip plane is set really high, like 100,000 or something in the far clip plane. And that still isn't helping the manipulator. That's alright, just scale it up like that. And so basically I'm going to go delete history, center pivot, freeze transforms, and basically those can be found under edit, delete by type, history, modify, freeze transformations, and then also modify center pivot here. And I made little shelf icons to do those really fast. So we have the track laid out. We have our little piece. I'm actually going to go show and turn off the grid. And right now what we'll do is we're in the polygons menu set right now. We're going to go over to the animation set, and we're going to select our little track piece. We're going to hold down shift and then left click the road curve, the curve for it. We're going to go to animate. We're going to go motion paths and attach it to the motion path. And you'll see what it did here was basically it snapped it to that point where we started drawing the track. So that's going to be your starting point wherever you start drawing on your track. So at this point, I should be able to kind of scroll through my timeline here and watch the little piece literally fly along it from beginning to end. And I'm going to go panels, perspective, and go back into the perspective camera and see how this kind of flies along the path here. Now my time slider here and my range slider are both pulled up, so they're accessible, to use. And basically I started at frame 0, and for mine I picked like 240 frames for it to go along. Basically the amount of frames when we do this process is going to be how many pieces are duplicated along it, and really what we're going to do is glide along one frame, duplicate a piece, glide along another, duplicate a piece, and we're going to do that with a script. So now that it's attached, I'm going to click on my little piece here, and we're going to go up here and just kind of look at what the piece is named. We can call it like road 1, piece 1, whatever you want to call it, road A, piece A, and just see what the piece is called. We're going to go down here and pull up our script editor. I'm going to go edit and clear the history to kind of clean it up. I'll pull the script editor over here. And then we're going to look in here in this little script that I have in here, and you'll probably want to pause the video, take a little bit of time, and basically type in this short script, because it's basically what's working behind the scenes to make this whole thing possible. So we called it road 1. That's what our little piece is called. So there's 3 important things we want to change in this script. Start time slider is at 0. My time slider starts at 0. If yours starts at 1 or something like that, then you want to put a 1 in here, but mine starts at 0. Mine ends at 240, and at the end time slider attribute here, you just want to make sure you put in where your time slider ends. And then here, where it says object to duplicate and the quotes, that's where you want to change. If it's called road 1, then we want to type in road 1. And those are the 3 attributes in this little script here that you want to make sure are correct for it to work. And then you're just going to select the whole script and go command execute. And the cool thing you see that it just did is it just basically duplicated my piece all around the entire track. Now how it did that was, like I explained just a minute ago there, is it took that one piece we had attached to the motion path and it brought it forward 1 frame and made a duplicate of it itself, and then duplicated itself again, and just kept basically creating a duplicate of itself along the frame, cloning itself or whatever. And you can see in ours here that, and how it spaces it is based on the amount of frames you have. So obviously here, if there's too big of gaps in between and they're too far apart, then I have too little of frames. So I'm going to hit Control Z, and it's going to go back and basically undo it. And so I want to use probably, let's go 40 more frames. So I'm going to type in 280 to 280, and I need to click on the little, it's kind of hard to select sometimes. There we go. No, it's a little tough to select sometimes. So sometimes we'll want to go show and turn off polygons and select the 240. If you can see that number on there, that's the end marker for the very last frame, and it still says 240, so it's not updated to our new 280. So we need to open up the attribute editor, and under position marker attributes here, under the position marker shape, we'll see the old time still at 240. So we just want to update that to 280, hit enter, and it just updated on screen on the motion path too. So I'm going to go show, turn the polygons back on. So our time slider is 280, our motion path set to 280. Those are updated. We're going to go back into the script editor here and look at our script. It's still at the old one, 240, so we need to set that to 280 as well. And now we'll zoom out so we can see the whole effect here. We're going to execute this with 40 more extra frames and let it do its magic. Minimize that, and we'll notice that they're actually pretty darn close together now. And I'm going to go in one more time just to get them a little closer together. And I'm actually going to set it to 300. I'm going to go in. Oh, I got to hide the polygons so I can select it. Go in there and select that attribute editor and basically update that to 300 as well again. It updated in the window. You can see the 300 now on the little keyframe there. We'll show the polygons again. Open up the script editor and just basically update our little duplicating script there again. Select it, and we'll go Command, Execute, and now we're getting a really nice, they're very close to each other now. So what I'm going to do now is we want to kind of maybe sew this all together because these are little individual pieces. So now we kind of want them to basically weld together into one solid object. So I'm going to go Show None, and then we're just going to show the polygons. I'm going to select all of them. We're going to get out of the Animation submenu and go into the Polygons menu. We're going to go Mesh, or where is it? It's late at night here. Mesh Combine, and now it's combined into one piece. We're going to delete the history, center the pivot, freeze the transforms on it, and we're going to go Edit Mesh, Merge, and the options, and basically we'll try we'll hit Edit Reset, and this is the distance. Threshold is the distance between, we are unchecking Always Merge for 2 because we actually want to merge for like 100 vertices in here between every one of these blocks. So we're going to select it in object mode, uncheck Merge for 2 vertices only, and this is the distance, like 0.01 meters apart. It's going to look to find the closest verts to like weld together. We're going to hit Apply, and really they're all further apart than that, so it's not going to do it. Let's just try 1, and as you can see, 1 really sewed up most of them. So now they're literally, you know, sewn together perfectly as one solid piece. We missed some in the curves where they're actually, you know, further apart. So what we can do is, I'm Zing back here, we can go like 1.5, hit Apply, and basically it sewed up almost all of them. We just have a couple of corner ones here and there that we could manually, I only want to select 2, just type in a ridiculously huge number and go in and just manually sew these up. And so basically, I'm not even going to finish sewing them up. This was a technique that allowed me to quickly prototype a track that followed the curve exactly and everything like that, and gave me a quick prototype on a track. Now I'm actually going to go back real quick, Z back, hope I have enough undos. Okay, and I'm going to go Show, and we're going to show our NURBS curve again just for fun. There's our little piece, and I'm actually going to add like a new material. Hold on. And I'm going to add just like a Lambert, and then I'm going to map like a checker pattern into it or something. Make sure you hit the 6 key on your keyboard so you can see it. One of the benefits of this method is that you get, if you do your UVs however you want them done, with little runoff sections of sidewalks and then the road in the middle, it's going to use the same piece all the way around, and your UVs are going to be perfect all the way around based off that one piece. So we're going to go in our script editor and just execute it again. Okay, and you'll notice that we have perfect UVs just all the way around on every piece, and that's a really killer time saver. I'm running really short on the time here for the video, but another thing I want to demonstrate here that's kind of important is when you select the piece and you go over here, you have an input called motion path for it, and there's all kind of cool attributes here, like the front twist is a big one. For like banking turns and stuff, and you can literally key that attribute by holding down right mouse button and key selected, and so you can see how powerful that would be for like keying banks when you go through a turn, keying it at 0 here and then keying it fully banked here and then go back to 0 here, and basically in this turn you'd have a bank. So hopefully this technique helps a lot of people out, and it's the process that I use to rapidly prototype drivable surfaces for Unity.